interesting start to the day anyway. Still no power. So, sort of somewhat on a bright note, painters can still paint, and mason can still do masonry. It's carpenters without power. That's a tough one. What? Tough morning. It was a tough afternoon. The main room, the focus room in this project is it's a cathedral ceiling, and you're coming down, and so we spent a good part of yesterday afternoon and a good part of this morning putting up trim stiles, taking down trim stiles, trying it again, doing it. I think we finally got it, but it's like, there's no set plan for this project, and so a lot of this has to be done as we go. So, and finding the right one that's going to work, that's a little bit tricky at times. Well, I gotta run to Unique's again. Wait till I show you. The boys, I had been buying them little fatter, bigger paintbrushes, and they said, no, we don't like those. We like the other ones. And I was like, what other ones? So wait till I show you which ones they like to paint with, and you'll see why I end up going through quite a lot of paintbrushes. Why they want to paint with these, I have no idea. Well, it's kind of hard to see, but I came home from doing construction and decided that I wanted to paint this up, because all of these, they were yellow, well, they're all going to be white in the future. So I said, well, I think I'm just going to do that. So I painted this all up. It's all ready to go. Maybe that one tomorrow, or that one. I'm not sure which. We'll see. Do you remember earlier when I went to get paintbrushes and I told you, oh, let me show you what they look like? Well, this is the lovely paintbrushes that they like to use. You can tell it's not exactly top shelf type stuff, so they end up going through quite a bit of these brushes, because what happens is after a little while, all that's left is here and then it's gone. And you can imagine what happens with the bristles. Those just end up, I don't even want to think about it. So this is, and I think I've told you this before, but you know, all the painting and the new shutters and everything else. And Sid's like, okay, there's a section, actually a couple sections in the house that need tile. And it's always sort of been a joke that when Todd, Dad, gets done everything, finished in the house, because construction, you know, mechanics don't go home and fix their cars. Construction people don't go home and work on their houses as a general rule. So they are always get very nervous, because when I'm finishing off a house, it generally means that it's going on the market and it's going to be sold. So, and I think I told you, so forgive me if I'm telling you again. I remember there was one house when the kids were little, and we didn't have, because I made custom cabinets, we didn't have the cabinet frames done. And all of a sudden I started making the cabinet frames for them, and the faces and everything else. They were raised panels. And the kid said to Sid, "Are we moving?" And Sid said, "Why?" "Dad's making the cabinets." And yeah, actually we were at that time. But this is all stuff, it hasn't been done in years. You know, it's one of those things that needs to be done. Are we moving? As far as I know, we're not moving. But, you know, I don't have any crystal ball. And you know what? If somebody came along and said, "Hey, I'll give you, I can build another house." That's, you know, that's partly what we do. So it's not a big deal. But that's not really the reason. I'm just trying to get everything. It hasn't been done in many years. So we're just taking advantage of the time and being able to, because we have now, there's a duty-free exemption here for another year on construction materials. So that ends up saving quite a bit of money. So that's what we've been, you know, doing, is trying to get things, bringing in different things and paints and doors and all kinds of stuff. So that way we can save on that, because, you know, like in the case of paint, you bring in paint, and duty on paint beforehand, because they do make paint in Nassau, is 100% duty. So if you buy a 5-gallon bucket of paint, say for $200, it's actually going to cost you probably 100% on that, 200, 400. And by the time you get it, depend $450, $500 for 5 gallons. So it's a big savings. That's how it is. But that's the changing here. And you know, Sid said before I left, if you start doing the tile floor while I'm away, then I'll be really concerned.